Get started. Yeah. May have some additional folks joining us. Mr. Schaefer, are you on with us here this morning? Anybody heard from Dick?
I don't see him on the list.
What, Alan, if you would kindly call things to order. Let's go ahead and get started. We may, like I said, you may be able to join us as the call goes on.
Okay, welcome everybody to RESC meeting. I think it's been the first one for me and maybe since March.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's been a long time and appreciate everybody stepping up. It's a very difficult time, you know, with the COVID and everything else from a economic standpoint, development, everything has really taken a major hit. Businesses all through the region. I won't discuss the things as far as detail, but with Don Sullivan working with Deborah Bevins at EDA for the Northeast region, we have the opportunity to basically move certain projects. There'll be some announcements coming, but I'd like to reach out to Don in particular and thank him for all the hard work. It's not easy to get this done. And with that, let's start the meeting.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you, Don.
I thank you, Alan. I've had opportunity to see a number of familiar names on the participant list, and we're, as Alan indicated, we're very happy you could join us. We have, I think, some very timely and substantive information to pass along this morning. We're going to be, with the help of a number of key staff members, sharing with you a quick overview of our CARES Act work plan that, as touched on briefly at previous commission meetings, is going to make possible a very sizable and, again, timely expansion in our economic development and resilience and recovery capabilities. You're going to have opportunity to hear, in addition to Don and myself, as referenced, quite a number of SRPEDD professionals that are going to be plugging in on this initiative. And if you have not heard from us already, you will be hearing from us very shortly. This grant, and we're fortunate to be among those RPAs, regional planning agencies across Mass that are in receipt of this critical funding, is going to enable us to not only partner with each of you, but to do more of, I think, what we do best, and that is align ourselves and the services provided to meet your priorities, to meet your most urgent needs, and to help each of your communities position themselves in such a way as to be able to access much needed implementation funding. So with that said, and again, the emphasis being on recovering from the obviously continuing crisis, with an emphasis being on the delivery of technical assistance to each of our 27 member municipalities, and by extension, area employers that are so critical to our region, and delivering the most needed, appropriate technical assistance and staff support. We're going to, again, race through some parameters, some framework that we envision for the coming 23-24 months, and then hopefully have maximum time to respond to questions and possibilities from each of your ends. So if I could turn things over to Grant and members of his team, we'll get rolling here with further details of the work plan. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you, Jeff. Don, did you have anything general to add before we dive into the outline of the work program?
No, I just, there was a series of EDDs, economic development districts, that rose to the top in Massachusetts. I just want to say SRPEDD was at the top of that list. We were the first ones in, first one that was actually awarded. And, I think we have an excellent program on how we're going to attack this relative to our district. And our team is a pretty experienced team, and under the leadership of Jeff and Grant, we're going to do all we can to address the localities in our district and try to help the local businesses, improve the climate relative to what's happened with the COVID. So I just want to say that I'm excited about the opportunities that are going to come down in the South Mass area relative to EDA funding and all the other funding that we're going to try to bring in for municipalities to assist. So just wanted to mention those few things, and I'll give it back to Grant.
Thanks. Yeah, so what I'd like to do now is walk through our work program, which will also serve as an outline of our presentation. And to let you know, we don't intend to go into too much detail today. Rather, we intend to just give you a sense of where our minds were when we proposed this work program and applied for it, and where EDA thought we should be focusing our attention and our efforts moving forward to respond to the crisis. So we're also hoping that these brief examples and descriptions we give you will kind of spark an idea. We'll give you an idea of how we might plug in and help you achieve your economic development goals. So let's walk through this outline really quickly. We have 5 major points of work here that we're going to be focusing on. And the first is just expanded capacity. That's why I'm here, and some of my team is here that you'll hear from. That just means more staff, more skills, more time. And we'll get into that on the next slide when I briefly introduce the team and our backgrounds. Expanded business assistance. That's just direct economic development assistance like Jeff and Don just described. And that'll take the form of increased grant writing and program participation applications. We want to be available to you for all of that, and assist you with as many grant applications as we can and make sense. Data gathering and analysis, improved techniques that you'll see from some of our team members. We also want to strengthen and reinforce regional partnerships. So meetings like this, meetings such as the RESC. When I think of 3 and 4, I think of those 2 together. Those are just modern, updated, useful tools and techniques, beautiful to consume graphics that help us understand the essence of a project, that help us polish our work. And I'll steal a phrase from Don. Don likes to say this is a coat of paint and new trim on a well-built old house. And I like that metaphor. I think that's very true.
I never said that.
That's what we're looking to do here with our public-facing content and with the comprehensive economic development strategy. And then finally, in addition to increased program participation and grant writing, we want to see and help you achieve more bricks and mortar, more project development. That's really where EDA measures success, and that's where we think the rubber meets the road. So that's what we'll talk about today. So our expanded team, I see many familiar names and faces, and you're well acquainted with Jeff and Don and that strong foundation that they've built with US EDA that I really think it's built on their leadership and vision, but also on project development. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Grant King. I'm the Director of Comprehensive Planning and Housing. I've been at SRPEDD for 10 years, and like many of you, I have a background in the private sector, working for builders and developers and consultants, a variety of roles from swinging a hammer and driving a bobcat to feasibility studies and civic engagement. But where my heart is and where the heart of our team is in the public sector, helping cities and towns meet your goals. That's me. Eric Arbini is our Chief Procurement Officer and Principal Comprehensive Planner. He has worked for banks and colleges. He served on the Finance Committee and the Zoning Board of Appeals in his town. And a good example of his work at SRPEDD is his partnership with many communities and with Lizeth, who I'll introduce in a minute, on the Green Communities Program, bringing hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of sustainability funds into the region, but also working with cities and towns to manage that work and manage your participation in that program moving forward. So that's the value that Eric brings to the table. Lizeth Gonzalez, I think she's been at our agency for about a year now, has a background in public policy and administration. She's worked for a city in Rhode Island, for a business improvement district in Washington, D.C., very strong civic engagement and design skills that she'll apply to our work. Sarah Brown, our senior comprehensive planner, again, likewise, excellent design skills, organizational skills, and has private sector experience working with a well-known planning consultant here in Massachusetts. So keeping us current, what are we missing? What should we be doing differently? That's where Sarah's mind is. And when I think of Taylor and Kevin, I think they both represent this unique blend of art and science. For art, it's logos and drawings and diagrams that Taylor draws and helps just distill a project or an idea down to its essence. And for Kevin, you'll see some examples of his photography, both drone and interior photography. Really adds those perspectives and those aha moments to a project. And then in the science, it's all about data gathering, data processing. The drone has incredible capabilities that we hope to apply. But also Taylor's background in statistics and coding can take huge data sets, query them quickly and powerfully, and just find that insight that we need to motivate our planning and our work. So that's where our team is. That's who we are, and that's that first task of expanding our capacity to apply a little more to our region, our role in the region. So with that, I'll pass it to Dawn, who will talk a little bit more about those grant and funding applications.
Yeah, so before you, I think we have a list of 10 of 11 agencies and their respective grant programs that they offer. A lot of this is going to depend on what the results are of the survey, and I think we'll probably have those results wrapped up by the end of the month. So once we determine what the needs are of the municipalities that'll enable them to help their local businesses, we'll home in on all these different grant opportunities and really shake the bushes and drill down in terms of what the needs are actually going to be relative to the communities and addressing the business assistance, and then fine tune our efforts in trying to, shake out, as it were, the money out of these programs. And there's a number of different opportunities that are in each one of these programs. And I'll just highlight a couple. Up at DHCD, Department of Housing and Community Development, we have the community block grant and CDF funds. We've got a number of different opportunities that we can seek out of HED, Housing and Economic Development, community compact opportunities that are there. US EDA, obviously, rural development, SBA, and one that's probably not really, people may not be thinking about this, but I want to highlight energy and environmental affairs. There's a lot of communities that have agricultural businesses and whatnot that are also suffering. So there's a lot of opportunity that we can do, provide some assistance to them as well. But like I said, once we determine what the needs are actually going to be from the municipalities, then we're going to drill down into these various programs. And there may be others, as I don't see on here, and I saw this earlier this morning, and also going to be reaching out to SEED, Southeast Economic Development Corp, because they also have abilities to, in funding to help the municipalities and businesses, which we could link up with them and see what's the best way that we can serve their needs as well as the municipalities' needs. So, yeah, there's a lot to do. There'll be a lot of grant writing. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of money that we can bring in and maybe develop some lending pools in communities where they can get this money out the door to help businesses, and you know, put together some strategic business planning for communities and whatnot. But there's more to follow with this, and I'll swing it back to Grant.
I might just add, Grant, before we go on to the next slide, listed here, of course, are such other funding sources as transportation and transit-related funding that we deal with routinely. And what this brings to mind is the potential for integrating not only across multiple funding sources with your community, but working with planners that are conversant across the full planning equations, so that, you know, if to pick a quick example here, if you're relying on funding from the recent shared space grant for outside dining, and you're needing to make adjustments, obviously proven necessary through the health crisis, we can help you with that planning, with these diverse funding sources in such a way that you can cobble together, hopefully, multiple sources to get to where you're needing to go. Rarely, as you all know, is it possible to cover the entire distance with a sole source. Multiple diverse sources are often required, and we can definitely assist you with that. Yeah, this is, as Don mentioned, this is but a partial list, and there are many others that we can help you with.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I'd like to pass it to Lizette and then Taylor to talk a little bit about those examples of data and analysis we hope to deploy.
Thanks, Grant. So just to give you guys and set the stage with some preliminary results from the survey that we put out, it's been out for about a month, and we've gotten a great balance between municipalities and small business responses. Cities and towns in the region, everyone's saying that their economic development strategy is going to be affected and shaped in some way by the fallout of COVID-19. And in the short term, we're looking at retaining and reopening our small businesses. But looking at a 1 to 3 year horizon, we're looking at exploring different economic development projects. And 70% of our respondents said that they are more interested in redeveloping vacant or utilized commercial and industrial space. A more balanced portion is looking on new developments, business assistance, and feasibility studies, among other options that are available. As Don mentioned earlier, to get these projects off the ground, we need to consider funding. And there's a great baseline knowledge of funding and technical assistance resources that our communities have already been using. Among those are the Community Compact Cabinet, Mass Development, and CDBG funding. And that's the center graphic on the top right there. And then as for our small businesses, they paint a bit of a resilient picture of their situation. Though 50% are currently only operating at 25% capacity, 60% also didn't transition to online sales during the shutdown. A majority aren't concerned about closing down if this persists for a little longer. So they're showing resiliency, and that may be due to the fact that 60% actually own their commercial properties. And in helping them to get back on their feet, accessing resources, only 40% of the small businesses who responded applied for the SBA loans that were available. And a similar number actually didn't apply. And the remaining said that they didn't know or didn't know how to apply. for the loan. So that tells us there's a gap to fill in providing them assistance with how to access and find out about these resources, but also how to actively apply for them. So this information will change in the coming weeks. It'll shift in one way or another. So I encourage you to let your small businesses know of the survey. And if you yourself haven't responded for your city or town, please do so. It'll be really helpful in shaping our response and how we can best help you help your communities as well.
Thank you. Yeah, so just an example of the way we're hoping to reach out and gather more data and inform our work from you and from the business community. And with that, Taylor, would you like to talk to us a little bit about some of the new data techniques that we're hoping to use?
Yeah, for sure. So we've expanded our capacity quite a great deal, I think, at SRPEDD over the past couple months. This example that we're providing here is from the New Bedford TOD study that we're currently working on. Essentially, what we were trying to do here is kind of uncover some real estate trends and kind of see ripple effects that might occur as a kind of result of the incoming TOD zoning. So essentially what we did here was we purchased a very large data set. It was easily over 1 million records, at least 25 fields per record. So it was massive. And it can kind of come off as very daunting at first to start to pick apart and uncover trends. But thankfully, we've expanded quite a bit. So now we have a tool called R. It's a statistical programming language that essentially allows us to create what I call a digital paper trail, so to speak, and script out analyses and recycle and reuse them. So it saves quite a great deal of time going forward, and we can definitely apply that, I think, here and throughout this process. And by doing that, we can create a really great kind of array of figures, charts that are really beautiful and easy to digest from what used to be a very massive and large data set. So
Great.
Hopefully.
Thank you. So Jeff, I think you'd like to talk a little bit about how we would like to strengthen our regional partnerships.
Me too. As we've touched on, most, if not all of you, are already well familiar with the diverse range of technical assistance that we provide, and have had opportunity to work with some, perhaps likely not all, the staff members that you're hearing from today. What we would like to do is extend a cordial invitation to check out the RESC committee, thanks to Don, and in particular, Dick Schaefer's able steerage over the years. This has proven to be a centrally important committee here for us. We're going to be talking very shortly about the SEDS, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy that underpins all of our efforts and really serves as a helpful roadmap of where we're going. But ideally, we would like to have representatives from all 27 municipalities actively engaged on the RESC. If you do not, if your community does not already have a member, I know these times are particularly challenging. No shortage of Zoom calls and demands on your time. However, we very much use not only your input and guidance, but we need you all to share with us your priorities, your most critical needs, so that we can keep those in mind as funding sources present themselves and as we go after these various implementation sources and seek to bring them down to the region. So what I would ask is give the economic development page, the RESC page, a visit. If you haven't checked it out on our new website, give some thought to possibly some additional representation if your community not plugged in a while, and really tap into the expertise that exists on that committee. Shoot an email to Don and to Dick, and just keep in mind upcoming meetings, because there's a lot of helpful information provided, helpful funding information made available that you can definitely take advantage of and advance your community. Yeah, we look forward to working with each of you and really having this committee grow even further in prominence and reach.
And one of our questions in the survey is how we might improve the RESC and our communications with you in general. And I think Lizette has some preliminary insights from that.
Yeah, so in the same way that we're asking communication and interest from you, we're also looking to see how we can improve in order to make our communication better, in order to make our services better known. And based on the survey responses, it seems like that's something that you guys are looking for, including email blasts or reminding people of what resources and assistance is available when it becomes available, if it's rolling or already out there, and hearing from each other. We learn from each other. Seeing examples in neighboring communities is really helpful and puts things into context. So that's one of the things we'll be focusing on in the future as well.
This is Lyle from North Attleboro. I can say that just listening has given me another idea, Don, for EDA use, besides the one we discussed. I'll be sending you an email this afternoon about it. So let the good times roll. Keep it coming.
All right, looking forward to it, Lyle. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, and as Jeff just said, you know, in an effort to enhance our public-facing content, just generally as an agency, we've just launched a new web page. We invite you to tour the economic development side of things there, where you'll see highlighted projects, past work, you know, charts and graphics and things. And we're just hoping to continue to add value there as part of this effort, and potentially expand that into even further web presence. So Eric and Sarah are going to share a little bit about another way we can kind of help you present yourselves and your businesses to the world and to the marketplace.
Sure. Thank you, Grant. SRPEDD's had the pleasure of working with a number of communities over the past few years to develop marketing and permitting guides. The most recent one that you'll see is the town of Middleborough's. The image on the left says "We Mean Business." That was developed just last year for the Office of Economic and Community Development. These guides have a variety of information describing what makes Middleborough or your particular town attractive to businesses. Includes testimonials, which you can see to the right. That's from a local business owner, True Grit Art Gallery. They explained why Middleborough has been great for the business, why they like being in Middleborough. It gives some firsthand account of what working or doing business like in that particular town, in this case Middleborough, is like. The next page highlights both downtown Middleborough and the industrial and business parks. So there's a sampling of stores and restaurants and amenities in downtown Middleborough. And then we also highlight the industrial and business parks, the 4 industrial and business parks in Middleborough, to show that Middleborough is welcoming to the small independent businesses as well as larger businesses, corporate headquarters. Middleborough has 3 corporate headquarters there. And the last image is the market area demographics. So we did this using Esri data to develop demographics these are used by businesses on a regular basis, to look at both just a radius, kind of a traditional sense of looking at population, households, income on a 5, 10, 15-mile radius, as well as a drive time. If you can see the map a little closer, you see it kind of spread out. What is closest? What are the population? What are the demographics within a 10, 20, and 30-minute drive time area? So we could do any combination thereof, but that's just to give an idea of, folks come to Middleborough, what's the market area look like, depending on what your business is. So like we said, we've done 4 or 5 of these in the past few years. I know Sarah is working with the city of Taunton this year on developing something similar to this. So we've had great experience. They've been well received by each of the communities, and we'd be looking forward to doing more if folks are interested.
Excellent. Yeah. So these are typically complements to the economic development and permitting guides that we also prepare. These are kind of the marketing side of things, and these are just as Eric said, just an example of some of the data and techniques we can deploy for you. So at this point, I'm going to do my best to ask Kevin to show us a little bit of drone and Matterport work. We're nearing the end of the presentation. We thank you for your time and attention. So Kevin, do I stop sharing, or can you just jump in and take control? How do we do this?
I'm just going to jump in. So just give me 1 second here. All right. So I really just want to talk briefly about some of the capabilities we have with the drone, and we have this interior 3D camera set up. So I always tell people, the drone is more about helping tell a story. So a place like this, which is over in Norton. This is their town hall, and one of the stories we're trying to show here is their town hall is very small, and they need a bigger town hall, bigger town building, and it looks like they're going to purchase this bit of land and go for it. So you get this great perspective from the air, both for photos and videos. But beyond just pretty pictures, which pretty pictures do tell they're a nice part of the story. They make a lot of presentations pop, and we do like to show them. We can get this rich data with the drone. So this is North New Bedford. This is a transit-oriented development site, and we flew the drone over this kind of brighter area here. So one, we're able to create these really high-resolution, 2D maps so we can zoom in and get really, really precise measurements, really accurate current existing conditions. But we also have the ability to look at it in 3D space. So we have, this large commercial strip here, looking at all the different, potential things that can be done here, and this can help people visualize what the area looks like. And we can even take this and go a step further and drop in, if this was going to be, say, redeveloped and things were going to be built here, and we had that model together, what would that should look like? What would the view sheds be? What would we see? And we couple that with all the strong analysis work we can do. We can really put together some really data-rich things. And again, this can also help people just understand what their neighborhood looks like and their community looks like. And then I wanted to show off the interior kind of 3D stuff that we do. So this is the Middleborough Town Hall. So we have this 3D rendering of the whole building. But if I go in and look, we'll go right into somebody's office here. We get this full panoramic, very, very clean, crisp looking, accurate walkthrough of the building, which is a great way to show off, the architecture of the building, to show the space usage, to help people understand, get oriented to a building they're not familiar with, public engagement, things like that. This also gives us a very accurate floor plan. So we can kind of extrapolate out the floor plans with this, and also in like a traditional black and white, flat floor plan area. And when we do something like that, it allows us to help with, building, safety plans and evacuation routes and things like that. So with this and with the drone, we're just capturing all this 3-dimensional, really data-rich things, and we can use that to tell any story that we want to. So what I always try to ask people say, can you come take photos of this, or can we get a nice drone shot of the train station? And we definitely can, but I always want to step back and say, what's the narrative you're going for here? What story you want us to tell? And we'll do it. And we're really good at that. Yeah, I just wanted to show off some of the technology. And
Excellent.
if folks have questions, whatever, drop me a line, drop me an email offline. I'm happy to chat or run through stuff one-on-one with folks, or happy to help. So if you share again, Grant, you'll just pop me out of it and go back to the presentation.
I was worried about this. We're showing technology and I don't know how to do that. So let's see, stop participant sharing, share screen, RESC presentation, share. We back?
There we go.
All right. All right, so I guess I'll defer to Dawn to talk about the importance of having a SEDS and a SEDS in a moment. But we just keeping in tune with this hope to update and to make things a little more interactive and easy to understand. We'd like to make an interactive executive summary of the SEDS and to present the future SEDS in an online, graphically engaging way. And we just provided one example. There are numerous out there, but one example from New Mexico where their SEDS is just a 35-page document. It's beautiful, very data rich, easy to understand, but it's all presented online. And when I saw that, it blew my mind, and I want to do something like this, and we intend to do so. But let me back up and hand it back over to Dawn to talk about SEDS in general.
So just in general, our SEDS all the SEDS are certified from EDA. They're good for 5 years. SRPEDD SEDS is good up into 2022, where we have to, do a total rewrite. So, I mean, the SEDS is really like a blueprint for the region for economic development. There's a lot of good information in it, a lot of good detailed information relative to ED indicators, strategies for development, projects that are in the pipeline. SRPEDD uses the document more like a tip plan. So, we get the SED certified for 5 years. Then we dig in and we start developing the projects. The projects is really what drives the SEDS. The projects is really what creates the jobs. And EDA is driven by project development and projects, private investment, and job creation. That's where they want to throw their money in the ring. They leverage their public sector funds with private development initiatives that create jobs, provide tax benefits, and all the other indirect benefits that occur from development. So, the document is important. It's important to check the box, but once we get our document certified for the 5-year effort, SRPEDD moves forward chasing money in projects. And, that is really where the rubber meets the road. That's where EDA wants to see the EDDs, the RPAs. That's what they want you to focus on. A lot of the other RPAs spend a lot of time with their SEDS documents. They change around some of the strategies. They're always changing around the people who make up the committees. They have a lot of subcommittee meetings. Then you go look at their portfolio of projects, and they don't have very many. That's where we kind of separate a little bit from the other RPAs. That's where we've been successful. And once we check the box and get it done, I mean, we're whipping the projects that are in that document. What we're trying to do is we're trying to bring home the infrastructure, public investment that EDA wants to see happen. And that's kind of how I see the SEDS document. We are going to be, can I jump into the executive summary, Grant? What do you want to do with that? You want to?
Yeah, I mean, that's all. I agree 100%. It's like a transportation improvement program for economic development projects. That's the way we think of our SEDS.
Yeah, that's the way, yeah.
We'd like to add a little interactive polish to the executive summary, but you did a beautiful segue to this next slide, which is the expanded recovery project development. So let's talk about that.
So right now, SRPEDD has 4 to 5 I want to say 5. We got a couple of projects that are gonna be announced in the coming weeks or sooner. Very large projects, but I don't want to get ahead of EDA on any of that. But actively right now, we have 5 projects. You know, in the monies, the value of these projects are about $4.6 to $5 million. So the first one's in Mattapoisett Industrial Drive. It's up by their IP Industrial Park. It's up off of 195 at exit 19A. So that's an infrastructure project. SRPEDD has been heavily involved with that. We're planning on going out to construction in the spring of 2021. There's also a bike path component. That's the SUP, Shared Youth Path segment. And, you know, that area is, we're looking at around 300 to 350 jobs that could be generated as a result of the project in combination with the sewer, a private sewer extension in that area. We also have in Wareham, we have a feasibility study that we're looking at the Deacon's School. It's a feasibility study that we cobbled together DLTA money along with EDA money, and we're in the middle of that, of doing that, and hopefully, you know, that's going to give a nice crisp redevelopment plan for that site, and you know, that'll enable the town of Wareham to start shopping that you know, strategy so they can get private investment up there. And if, you know, that turns out, then we'll be coming back in with EDA money to see if there's any opportunity to do any kind of infrastructure investment that will support the private development that's going to occur there. In Somerset, there's been a lot of activity. We've got a couple of projects. We have a planning project that we've got a fair amount of money from EDA, which is going to be wrapping up in October. We've also had some upgrades to the with EDA funds for the water and wastewater treatment plants that we recently completed a few months back. We're also looking at other opportunities that will be coming relative to additional infrastructure investments and projects that are coming down the line. And we're still holding out for a private investment relative to any kind of manufacturing that's going to occur on the Brighton Point Commerce Center, which is the former Brighton Point power plant station. Additionally, you know, we've had a lot of calls and meetings and conversations with other municipalities relative to the supplemental money that's under the CARES Act for bricks and mortar projects, where we're looking at, you know, at least 4 or 5 projects that we're working with municipalities to determine whether or not it's going to be competitive and, you know, they have the right type of investment and located in the right areas where we can pull off some more awards and more funding for the district to bring more private investment and jobs. So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot more to come of all this, and we're just looking to, you know, see what we can do, the best that we can do for our district and cities and towns that are located in it. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Grant.
Yeah, so that pretty much concludes what we were hoping to show you in terms of our CARES Act work program. At this point, we'd like to hear from you. I know typically during RESC meetings, you kind of do a roundtable updates from communities, so have at it.
Again, this is Lyle from North Attleboro. Just kind of I think this meeting is fantastic, and you've given me a great idea for things that I'll follow up with you on regarding funding for a sewer line analysis. But one of the things I want to clarify about the town in general, there was an article in our regional paper, the Sun Chronicle, yesterday, I believe, about the fact that Amazon is looking at Simon Properties malls with the idea of putting logistics centers in malls, and the way the article was written would lead one to believe that a deal in the Emerald Square Mall is imminent. And we here in town management followed up with mall management. And I can assure you that's not imminent. That was just somebody reading an article probably at 3 o'clock in the morning to get something in the morning edition and not reading it carefully enough. If that happens, it's not going to happen here anytime soon. We have other things going with the mall, but bringing in Amazon isn't one of them. That's my update.
Hi, it's Marie Klarner from North Attleboro. I might as well follow behind Lyle. I just wanted to ask you, Grant, or Jeff, or Don, if you were going to send out the PowerPoint, a copy of the PowerPoint presentation you did to the people that attended or to everybody you invited to begin with so that we could have that. Because I wrote notes, but I said, see page this, see page that. So if you could send out the PowerPoint, that'd help.
Absolutely. We'll post it to the webpage too.
Thank you very much. And it's been interesting, and as I always tell you about SRPEDD, you guys are helpful and extraordinarily knowledgeable in what's going on and what towns need to do to make improvements, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other updates from communities? Leanne Bradley, did Kevin go into your office in his 3D tour?
Yes, he did.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm in the annex. Yep. So it was the town hall and the annex as well, which came out great. And I know police and fire are very excited about that because we didn't have anything like that. So that was great. We're very, very happy with that. Yeah, and it was great to see Middleborough kind of spotlighted on this. That was nice. Yeah, and thanks for the invitation. This is the first RESC meeting I've been to. So I'm SRPEDD rep for the town as well as a member of the JTPG committee. So this was nice. Yeah, thank you. As far as updates, well, last night, speaking of Amazon, last night the planning board did vote to approve a special permit to have Amazon come into town to kind of take over the old Solari's building, which is part of Middleborough Park at 495 off of Route 2818. So it will be an end-of-line service where individual drivers come in, pick up an Amazon, the smaller vans that you see, and then distribute to, local communities. So we did approve that last night. So we're excited about that. It was a lot of discussion, mostly with traffic. But yes, that was approved. And we have a couple of other things in the works with our industrial centers, wanting to expand. We have some medical buildings that provide kind of like some platform for looking at machinery, not machinery, but some sort of, I don't even know how to explain it. It has to do with the cytostorm from COVID, when your immune system overreacts and attacks the body. So we have a business in town where their instrumental platform can detect that. And so they have been contracted by the federal government to do some more research into that. So they're looking to expand their building space. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Kind of hard to explain when you don't really know anything about that industry. But yeah, we have some good things happening. Lots of marijuana. We have three marijuana companies going through permitting right now.
Okay.
Yeah, seems to be the big thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Grant, not to turn this into the North Attleboro show, but I think everybody knows that the state is having a tax-free weekend, I think August 28th, 29th. And our downtown merchants have taken that upon themselves to have a big promotional weekend. Just about every merchant downtown including restaurants, which aren't impacted by the tax thing, but nevertheless are all doing special events, and it's kind of morphing into something pretty big. There's a comic book show or store downtown that's bringing in clown cars, and I mean, it's turning into something. So as a thought to other communities, it's a great opportunity to promote businesses who will be offering tax-free products.
Grant, this is Mary Ellen with Mass Development.
Hi.
We have 2 grants right now that are open. So our Brownfields redevelopment competitive funding round is open. Those are due September 18th. I know we have a couple of people on this call who are familiar with that grant round. So those are due September 18th. And if anybody has a question, a generic question about their application, I'm happy to answer it. I can't get into specifics, but I can address general questions. And then we also have our technical assistance grant open right now for the agency, and that's due September 4th. So if you didn't get notice of those and you're interested in more information, either myself or Jay Patikis can get you that information.
Excellent.
Mary Ellen, are those the only dates? They're not rolling, right? They're hard and fast dates for submission?
So technical assistance is hard and fast. Brownfields, it's a funding round, but in an emergency situation or if something needs to get addressed, it's worth having a conversation to see what I can do.
The technical assistance is between 5 and 50,000 for grants. And then the next one coming up mid-September is site readiness as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mary Ellen. Thank you, Jay.
Just want to say hi, everybody. My name is Brian Day. I'm a relatively new selectman in the town of Lakeville. Leanne kind of drooling over the stuff they were showing from Middleborough next door. A little jealous on that. I just want to ask SRPEDD or anybody else, I don't think our Economic Development Committee has met in a while. What is a good way to ensure that we're not missing out on opportunities under this field? I know our town administrator is very connected with SRPEDD on other factors, but do we need to make sure that we have somebody appointed so that these are not being missed?
With regard to
this is
new members of the committee, Brian, we're going to have a form circulated to everybody. We could maybe send that out with the copy of the PowerPoint as reference, such that if Lakeville or any other communities would like to have somebody considered for membership, by all means, please send that in. It's a simple matter of sending that before the full commission. And yeah, we can ensure that you guys are not only included in any and all communications relative to the committee, but that we can look to formally confer with each of you, not only via that member, but on any needs that you may have. So yeah, definitely look forward to.
Yeah, that would be great. I appreciate it. And if it's a longer, more in-depth process, feel free to follow up with me offline. I don't want to hijack the meeting. I was just like, oh, this is good stuff. I want to make sure we're not missing out.
Absolutely. No, we'd love to have you.
So thank you. Appreciate it.
This is Dick Schaefer speaking. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, Dick.
Okay. My signal's been going in and out here up at Echo Lake, New Hampshire on vacation, but I wanted to sit in on this meeting because I think it's very important and you guys did a great job with it. We certainly want to invite increasing the membership of the Economic Strategies Committee, and Don and I have talked about a couple of different things to do, for the new year. And eventually, when we find out about having these meetings, we'll start that again. Also, be able to move them around the region. so that rather than just in the SRPEDD office, but we can go visit and hear from Middleborough about what's happening there, Lakeville, what's happening there, those type of things. So I just want to welcome everybody, and before this comes out again, wish you all well for the rest.
Yeah.
Any other updates or thoughts to share with everybody before we conclude?
Well, Grant, Joe Callahan from Berkeley here. Great presentation, guys. Really good. Exciting news. I've got a few ideas to bring back to my town in terms of business development now. I'm hoping to talk to one specifically, two guys in the future. We're currently doing the master plan with Eric Arbini's help, and you know, some of these things we can put forth into the master plan and try to make things happen in Berkeley in the future. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Well, let me share my screen one last time and share our save the date for the next meeting. This is very tentative. I know Mr. Schaefer and Don and Jeff need to figure all this out, but typically the RESC meets quarterly on the third Wednesday of the month. So that would put us in right before Thanksgiving, I guess. So the third Wednesday of November is the 18th. And we're anticipating doing it via Zoom again. So we'll be in touch with those details once that firms up. But in the meantime, you know, please follow up with us. All of our contact information is available from the SRPEDD website under About SRPEDD and SRPEDD staff. And anyone here would be happy to answer any questions and to respond to any requests. With that, I'll turn it back over to Jeff or Don with closing thoughts, and then to Mr. Slavin.
Well, it's been great catching up with each of you here this morning, and really can't stress enough the importance of reaching out if there's any way that we can assist you. Seen a glimpse here this morning of the small handful of ways that we've been working with neighboring communities, ways that maybe you can explore and tap into yourself if you haven't already. We hope this has been helpful to each of you. Yeah, we very much look forward to working with each and every one. Yeah, thank you all.
Don.
No, I'm good. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Yeah. So how do you conclude this? Does Mr. Slavin, Alan, do you need to adjourn? How does this work?
Is there a company song we can sing?
I don't see Alan on there, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thanks. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Dick.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you.
good week.
Thank you.
We'll see you
Thank you.
next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.